And also a note, this meeting, it will be recorded. So if you have any issues with that, it will be recorded. So yeah, so Free Space was part of the CITD forum that went on last month. So it was 3 days, and we had just under 30 artists from Barbados, as well as from the diaspora throughout the US, different parts of the world. Basically, we have artists that their work was all showcased virtually. So it was a fully virtual exhibition, as well as the in-person component at Artist Alliance in Bridgetown, Barbados, where we had scanner codes where you could then see the digital artwork that way. So I am going to start by sharing my screen and taking you guys through the exhibition. It's called Brick City. It was created for the exhibition, and I will just let you guys see that navigation. So bear with me while I pull that up. It is something that's open to the public, but I know that some people may have had some issues viewing it, so I figured that it would be good for people to engage with it this way. I just want to make sure that you guys can see my screen. And you guys give me like a thumbs up. Okay, cool. So it's hosted on the Mahogany Culture website, and this is how you can see. When you get here, you just click enter. You can, here's how you look. Pretty fun. I like this open. And then you can click enter without registering. Just welcoming us to New City, which is the digital interpretation of Barbados. A blend of culture and possibilities with a unique experience. And it's a different building, so it's not just the exhibition here. So it's shadow houses and it has theaters, where the Free Space exhibition is one of the location of Free Space. I just wanted to kind of navigate around the space so you guys know what was needed. We have like different local the Mahogany Street. So I was transported to the Gibson from Africa. Before I take you to the exhibition, different artists, so it's an Agard. Just gonna scroll through it now, but you guys will have a chance to really look at the artwork through the video. I just wanted to make note of all the participating artists. Jaryd Niles-Morris, Karib Colors, as you can see, it has different types of artwork. We have images, we have graphic art, and we also have textiles. It's pretty interesting to be able to see these things visually. Ronald Williams, Troydel Wallace, Tracy Greenish, Deandra Davis, Axel, García, DeOlivere, Welch, Berger, Sachin Brewster, Olivia Mc Gilchrist. So I'm just gonna make sure that okay, bear with me 1 second. I just want to get the video ready so that we can watch that. I just want to double check that everyone can see. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you can see the video? Awesome.
told us of people who were shot and killed. Not only the little boy who was killed by Swain, but other people were shot and killed. And the comment of the police officer on one such occasion was another black bottle broken, or another black bottle break.
So there we have it. That was the video. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching the artwork. Someone said that the retro RPG vibes are truly appreciated. So yeah, so now I am going to open the floor to the artists. I guess I will call you guys and then you can go see the artists are going to be welcome to just say a little bit about their work, maybe their experience with showcasing their work digitally, whether that's physical work or if it's digital artwork. And like if they're in part of NFTs, which is also going to be part of a discussion that we'll have like after the artists can introduce themselves. So yeah, first we will have Sachin Brewster will go if you're ready.
Hi, good night.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Sachin Brewster, and I am the proud creative known as Sachin Tricks on Instagram, and my piece is Blueprints. For me, when I was creating it, it was an interesting process because at the time, I was definitely just trying to express the way I was feeling about a particular person, and it all came together piece by piece. So what I did was I started with going to the beach, and it was early morning. I took some pictures of some rocks at the beach. It was like 4 or 5 in the morning that I did that. And I took multiple pictures. It wasn't just of the rocks, but that was the one I used in this piece. And I came home and I was looking at all the pictures and trying to compile them and stuff like that. And then I was going through my Instagram and I saw one of my closest friends, and I saw a picture of him that he had recently got taken, and the image came in mind. I don't know how to explain it. It was just something that I know I needed to do and to express at that point of time. So I used the rock as a foundation for his emotions and stuff like that, and the color scheme I used to really represent how I view him, the type of person he is, with the multiple shades of blue, the deepness of it all, the deep emotional weight of it all, and how that is beautiful, you know? Even though it is deeply emotional, it still is strong like rock. And that's why I wanted to represent. With the pink, I utilized that because he's a member of the LGBTQ+ community. And it's a very important part of his identity, but it's not something that represents his personality. It's not who he is, it's part of who he is. And I wanted to encompass that as well. So it was just something that I really enjoyed making, and it was very fun. I wouldn't have had it any other way. I don't have any complaints about it. So
Thank you very much. I appreciate you. And thank you so much for including your work in the exhibition. That I look forward to see. What new pieces you have coming up that just kind of collage, make sure that we can explore. So next we'll have Deandra Daniel.
Good night, everyone.
Hello.
So my piece is, Zoe, do you want me to wait for you to like pull it up, or I can start talking?
It's there.
Okay. So my piece is called "This Is the Sound of Soca," a popular soca song. And the inspiration for it, I was raised very sheltered, so I wasn't allowed to listen to soca for a large chunk of my life. And I would always look forward to 2020, I can jump. 2020 is the year, and I really look forward to that. And as we know, 2020 brought COVID, so I was not given the opportunity to jump like I wanted to. And this piece for me brought a lot of catharsis, like a lot of the things that I was looking forward to, you know, with the community and just feeling the music and, you know, being immersed in it and the bright colors. So I really just allowed myself to visualize what I wanted and have it as a piece. And art is also something that I was able to allow myself to explore in 2020 and in 2021. So having the two kind of blend together was a really like cathartic, almost spiritual experience for me. So that's what this piece is. This version of this piece, because this is a modified version, just with like small changes, like a little Chevette cup with my face on it. This version of this piece I sold as an NFT recently, but I guess Zoe will talk more about NFTs later. But that's it. That's the piece. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And yeah, I really love the Chevette cup because that's pretty much the essential when you're going to jump. You always get that. Thank you, Deandra. So next up, we'll have Oneka Small, who's also one of the curators of the exhibition. Welcome, Oneka.
Hi, good night, everybody. Thanks again, Zoe, for curating and doing such a magnificent job. My piece is called Spirit of the Flamboyant. It's an acrylic piece that I did. I think it's where I wanted to be. So I painted a piece that was sort of abstract. I almost felt like if it was by the river. And then I got Tracy, who was in this show, to help me make it into something that wasn't just a 2D piece, because this is my first time really trying stuff in a digital format. So he helped me in terms of, I always wanted to have work that moved. And that's what I try to do in my paintings anyway. But now with the digital technologies, the paint can literally move. So he helped me with animating it. So I also want to say thanks to the younger artists who are on board, who are pulling along us older artists. The piece itself, the painting sold, but I like the idea that we could still keep showing our work, even though in different platforms, even though like original pieces sell and they're not necessarily printed, but that people can have access to them and see them. So that's my piece.
Thank you very much. So next up, we will have Olivia.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Zoe, and thanks, everyone. It's really inspiring to hear all the explanations so far. Really, you know, it really helps to understand the work. So, yeah, Zoe, thanks for asking me to contribute this slightly less recent work. It's something I created a while ago now. I think it was 2012. So the piece is called River Muma. It's inspired by my interpretation of the River Muma figure as I went back to live in Kingston a few years ago. I was looking for mythical and legendary female characters that I would be able to think through in terms of their complex cultural hybridity and how that could be represented in a different way than maybe like the way you often see like illustrations or stories. So I wanted to explore like multiple video screens. And I was able to do this at the National Gallery of Jamaica when I was able to show that in a group exhibition called New Roots. And it was an amazing opportunity because I was able to work with an actress, Rachel Allen, who's the actress who you see in one of the screens. That's her there. And she really helped to bring the character alive. So we filmed that at the School of Drama in Kingston, at the Manley School of Drama. And we did that on a green screen. It was one of the first projects I did with a green screen. So then I layered the video of Rachel on some videos I filmed of myself and one other woman who's swimming underwater. And so the piece is supposed to, well, my idea is that it kind of evokes the many ways this like mermaid type character can be perceived in different ways by different people from different backgrounds. And the idea is that you would stand inside the room and you wouldn't be able to look at one screen. You'd have to like choose which side you look at. So you would never really see the whole thing at once. You have to spend a bit of time and decide how you engage with the work. So it was, yeah, that was a really great opportunity I had. And it's actually really beautiful the way it's been put in this virtual gallery. So yeah, if you have any questions, I'm happy to speak more, but thanks a lot.
Thank you. And can you talk a little bit about the movement? Is it coming from Jamaica or I don't know about it?
Sorry, yeah, I should have explained. So as far as I know, in like multiple island spaces, there are different kind of versions of like basically a mermaid character who can be I'm just losing all the focus of what I'm trying to say. In Jamaica, the name is often used is River Muma, and like I think in Haiti her name is Mami Water, and then in the Dominican Republic, where I did another project inspired by this character, there are different names. I was primarily inspired by the fact that she is mysterious and she appears, oh, this is it, yeah, excuse me, just come back to me. She appears in a dream. In the few stories I read about this character, she appears in your dream. So then that was like an open opportunity to just explore what kind of dream I could create visually and with the sound. And so I actually asked a friend of mine, I was living in the UK for a while, and a friend of mine made an electronic music track called Sirens. So I was listening to that track again and again. I was trying to think how that would work with this video piece. So yeah, I hope that answers, but yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you very much for sharing. So the next person I will have is Sydney McConney.
Hi, I'm Sydney McConney. I'll wait for the piece to come up. Okay, so this piece is from my most recent series where I talk about my sexual experiences in conservative Barbados. This one is called After Sex, which is where I talk about the hopelessness of finding a true connection after sex, during sex, with sexual partners, and the hopelessness in finding true validity in my gender identity. I also talk a bit about objectification in intimate settings. And yeah, that is it.
So thanks. And this is this is one of the 5 other illustration sets. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had these pieces showcased physically in Barbados already, and now also in a digital setting, which is pretty awesome that you can have that fluidity between the different mediums. So thank you for
Thank you.
showcasing. So next, I'll ask Heather Dawn Scott to talk a little bit about her piece.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, good. Good evening. Thanks a lot for putting this mammoth thing together, and thanks for Annalie Bab and Oneka as well, and everybody who contributed, and the diversity of artists and the diversity of work as well is really quite a task to put together, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And also I thought the music was a fantastic addition, you know, sort of you don't register it at first, and then afterwards you realize what a variety of sounds accompanying each piece. Right, so, you know, I'm not known for doing the textiles, the fabrics. It is something I've been doing for 11 to 12 years. My studies were really sculpture, and now I'm known for these little monkeys and other rather commercial pieces of work. You know, they're not abstract. They're geared towards the villas on the island. But I am going back to the textiles, and I still have a passion for the sculpture, and I feel that it is important to validate all of the different kinds of art that are coming out of found materials, through the traditional materials, through the digital artworks, and what Zoe's doing as well, which is a new addition to what we're used to seeing here. So, you know, to have all of this in one show, I think is an eye opener, and also liberates a lot of artists from being stuck with one particular medium, especially in the Caribbean, where we grew up in, you know, well, we used to, I don't know if we do still, but we grew up in the, you know, in the bush and out back, and eating dunks and picking things up off the ground, and coming home with our pockets full of weeds and treasure, you know. So yeah, so when Zoe said, put in anything you like, I thought, well, let me put in one of these pieces. And usually my textiles are they're geometric from a distance, but they're quite organic if you look up close. And this piece is probably the least structured of that series, where most of them were just like torn. They are all made of just torn fabrics. The idea is to dye the fabrics and then shred them and then sew them back, so that the healing or the restructuring is almost stronger than the actual original fabric. And you know, we talk a lot about education and healing and looking back. So, you know, when I'm doing them, and they do take a long time, it's just, you know, stitch, 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 just the same as when you're painting. It's like dab, dab, mix, mix, dab, dab. These things, you know, they do take a lot of thought and a lot of time, and to bring them to fruition from start to finish is, you know, you go through a lot of ideas en route. So yeah, so this one I called it, I mean, some of them have to do with lots of things, but this particular one had to do with the coral, because of course the corals here are all wrecked. When I was little, you could run out at low tide and come back with you know, lots of little nets and puddles of things that you had to throw back in afterwards, but beautiful little treasures everywhere. But now you go out and the whole thing is just dead and flat. On all the coasts, it's just completely dead. So this one was like the organic growth of corals and the formations they take, and it's a little more directed towards 3 dimensions, which is eventually the route that I will take with the textiles. So that I was really happy to be able to put in something that was from very basic materials and hand done over slow time, and harping back to well, the whole island is built of coral. So, you know, this is the little Barbados. This is a coral island. That's how it emerged out of the ocean. So I felt it was important in that way. So yeah, so thanks to everybody, and happy to be there, and yeah, lots of love.
Thank you. It was really nice to be able to include your work, not just to include your work, but also the fact that it was a textile, so that we could see how it translated into that digital space, into the music that you mentioned. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys saw it at the end of the video, but the music is by Dwight Jones, and first name is the other creator for the first, I guess, like 3 or 4 songs that you hear. So yeah, it's part of it's kind of like an art form as well, that was included in the exhibition. Thanks for pointing that out. The other artists, sorry, I'm just going down the list to see who else is here. So I will also ask the artist Chrome to just say a little bit about their work as well. They're available.
Hi, good night, everyone. You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, all right. Good night, Zoe. You know, one of my favorite people in the world.
Thank you.
I'm a local illustrator. I created the character Chrome. That's the character inside the piece. The piece is entitled Saturday Morning in Bridgetown, and it's born purely from my nostalgia, you know, my memory of going to town on a Saturday morning. You know, the sun is hot, you have an icy in your hand or a snow cone. You go in K. Shepherd, go in Pages, or what's not, you know, that's what inspired the toy packaging theme in it, you know. But the character is supposed to be an avatar that you could see different Bajan characters and different characters from subcultures around the island, you know, because even though it's a small island, it's still pretty diverse, you know. So hopefully everyone was start to see eventually themselves in the avatar.
Thank you for that. Yeah, this is an interesting piece that's showcased in the exhibition as well, because you can see like it is a toy, I mean, a illustrated version of a toy. And if you check out Chrome's other work, you can see this character kind of exists in different Barbadian. Pretty interesting. So once again, it's a pleasure to have this, you know, to have this mixture of Caribbean art. So thank you for that. So next, we're gonna ask Tracy Greenish to speak a little bit about their work. Hi, Tracy, are you there? Give Tracy a second. So I'll actually ask Omar, who is someone that was behind the team for the Grid City, which was the first thing that we that I kind of shared my screen and walked you guys through with the different mahogany trees and everything. So I'm gonna ask Omar to kind of talk about what they created with this team, and I will just pull it back on the screen, kind of change our character, but we can answer again. Can you guys see the screen? Okay. So yeah, Omar, you can go ahead.
Okay, no problem. Hi, everyone. Well, and Zoe, you could always hit M just to mute everything if you wanted.
Oh, thank you. I was.
That's no problem. Hi, good night, everyone. I'm so sorry to be late to this fantastic meeting we have going on here. I actually own a restaurant as well, and as you know, in the industry, it's never an ordinary night. So Wednesday nights are usually very, very quiet, and this Wednesday, of all Wednesdays, boom. So we had a lot of persons there, and unfortunately, I was a little late, so I want to apologize for that. So anyways, we created New Bridge City. What we actually wanted to do for the UNCTAD convention was to have, to transform Queen's Park into, are you guys familiar with AnimeCon in Barbados? I'm one of the co-owners for AnimeCon as well. And what happens is we were tasked to recreate an AnimeCon in Queen's Park, where we're showing pop culture in its very many forms and how we can bring it out to the world, because pop culture can still be seen as a nerd thing or a geek thing and whatnot. And we were going to use UNCTAD to showcase to everyone, how expansive pop culture is, and that in some form or fashion, we're all nerds and geeks because of the various things that we do like. So what happened was COVID, and AnimeCon in itself, we would get an average weekend 6,000 to 7,000 people. And if that was any indicator, due to COVID restrictions, we could not have a convention of that size. So what we decided to do instead, Team AnimeCon, along with Annalie Bab and Adrian Green, we decided to have a digital version of what we can do. So instead of having a digital convention, because there are restrictions that the UN has in terms of advertising and whatnot, we decided to create a digital representation of Barbados, but 50 years in the future. So you would see your channel houses there, because without your unknowing and understanding your past, you can't go forward. And then we have the larger buildings, which are there, and you would see the buildings have a more spherical, futuristic feel, lots of green spaces in them, lots of reflective surfaces. There were areas on it where the glass areas are supposed to act as different panels to absorb solar energy, so you don't have to depend on fossil fuels and that sort of thing. So we created a futuristic way of what we believe that Barbados should look like in the future. And in each of the buildings, we had different subsets of the different aspects of the UNCTAD convention, the creative industries and trade digitization forum that we were managing. And Zoe, and here's that. Thank you. That is the overview of the map. So you can see the different aspects of New Bridge City. And we had the art exhibit for the NFTs and the other classical art that Zoe was exhibiting, Mahogany culture. And we had them in New Bridge City, and it was very well received. We are using these platforms right now as we speak to develop Barbados digitally. So we now have a few clients which have seen the platform or who know of AnimeCon and heard of what we were doing, who want their businesses digitized, where persons can have their own avatars and they can persons can walk through the business, their showrooms, their whatever have you, their galleries, their whatever they're exhibiting, whatever they have to show, and persons can see it online and feel that they're actually there. So the focus we have gone to now, we are now more into a feel like your role-playing games, your Final Fantasies, your Chrono Triggers. That's the sort of feel that the newer and more updated platforms have right now, where you can interact more with the non-player characters and do a lot of exciting stuff. So this was New Bridge City. I hope you guys do get a chance to really go and walk around and explore in it. It's still a work in progress. This is a new company that we've developed under AnimeCon. That's no problem, Olivia. And this is a new company we developed under AnimeCon, because AnimeCon could not continue in the format it was in, which was focusing on the conventions. And one thing about AnimeCon that person didn't know is that AnimeCon is not just a convention. We actually have a lot of career development. We help persons, artists, develop their trade by giving them financial aid, by giving them developmental aid in terms of hooking them up with international experts to help them really push their crafts and whatnot. So this is another stage that we are going through to really get Barbados out to the world as a regional pop culture hub. I'm so sorry if I bored any of you, but I really, I'm excited about this project. We have a lot that we're looking to do going forward. And we would love to have all of you aboard. You know, if you ever have any ideas you would like to be exhibited in some way or form or fashion, you know, just let us know and we'd be very, very happy to work with you.
I don't think that was boring at all. It's such an amazing thing. I mean, when I saw this, you know, you've seen, as I said, like games or other digital forums, but to be able to see something like this that also has the Barbadian symbols and, you know, the different animals and trees, man, it's just so exciting. I don't know. I had a lot of fun with this. So I'm
Great, thank
excited
you.
to hear what other things you're going to do.
Big things to come.
I'll see if any of the other artists are ready. Hi, Tracy. Are you available to kind of tell us a little bit about your artwork? Here's Tracy there.
Yeah, you can hear me well because I'm
Yeah,
having some
yeah.
my issues.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first off, I've started to embark on trying to create some existing things that you know about folklore characters and so on, whether it is associated with Barbados or the rest of the Caribbean. And what we've been doing is actually teaching myself how to do digital sculpting, CGI, animation, all of that. We'll be doing that for the past 2 years. So basically, Google and YouTube has been my teacher, along with a few colleagues from Instagram who have befriended and, you know, discuss things and try to do things on a different and better skill. So what I wanted to do with folklore is bring it back because nowadays you can have children tell you about any character. Any child can tell you about Naruto or Goku from Dragon Ball Z, but ask them about, you know, the Heartman and the different folklore characters, and they look at you like you speak Spanish. So what I've been trying to do is incorporate these characters in the CGI paper format and bring it to the forefront, bring it to the forefront pretty much as the same kind of characters you will see in a Pixar movie or you know, DreamWorks movie and so on. So it's my intention to basically bring these characters out, not only bring them out, but to bring them out in my own interpretation and so on. Because as you can see on the screen right now, this is sorry, I was trying to thought here. This is Mr. Harding. And what I did is that look, I just got some messages about recording in progress. Anyway, y'all can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I did is that I still try to maintain the old colonial look as well as incorporate my own way. And from research, you know, he was made of cane trash and so on. So I went back with the same kind of look, making his body look like it was out of burnt cane and so on. And him having the ability to have, you know, fire-based powers and that kind of thing, you know, just to make it a little bit more exciting. There are also some other cars that I would have created as well. I also did the Steel Donkey and the Backroom Man and so on. Currently, I'm working on another character you may know of. She's called Mami Water, and that is also my visual interpretation. So that's a work in progress. I hope to post soon. That's pretty much it. And you can find most of my work on DeOlivere on Instagram at art_of_DeOlivere. What I would like to do intentionally is actually try to 3D print these characters because I received some really good feedback from the UNCTAD exhibition and show and so on. And I was even told that even the Prime Minister was fascinated with the work, and you know, she even suggested, well, it could be a toy format, and that would be nice, to be honest, to bring these characters for, you know, for people to enjoy that way. And as I said, put them on the same forefront as characters you know from Disney or Pixar or DreamWorks. So that is pretty much it. Is there anything else that you would want to ask me on the character you saw? Hello.
Tracy, I've followed your work for quite some time. I know you've exhibited at AnimeCon and we've worked together a lot. Your work has really evolved, and I'm really impressed with how far you've come. And I'll give you a shout after this. This is some really good stuff.
Sure, no problem. Much appreciated.
Sorry, I was on mute there, but yeah, that was great. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, it is really important. A lot of people were kind of interested to see kind of this realization of this character. And as you said, it is really important for us to, I mean, you mentioned, I guess, if I heard correctly, the same River Mama, which is the same, right? Saying that the same character that Olivia had mentioned that she was exploring as well, just with a different, well, I mean, the same name, but that each island has like a different name for it. And I mean, I didn't know, or it just sounds familiar when you did mention that name, but it just goes to show that it is something that is dying a little bit because not everyone kind of, you know, knows about these different characters, or even if you did learn about it when you were a kid, it's not something that we're engaging with now. So it is really important to have it, you know, in this modern context. So yeah, it's once again also very grateful for you to be part of this exhibition, and I'm also excited to see, you know, what that original character looks like.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well, to be honest. You know, I always appreciate any opportunity that I can get to showcase work and, you know, spread a little bit more information about what I'm doing and so on. So it's muchly appreciated.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
So once again, guys, if you have any questions, you can definitely send a message or put your hand up when we get to the question and answer, which will be coming up soon. But if you have any questions for the artist, you can definitely ask them now, because after that, I will be going into kind of a little discussion touching on digital art, the digital world, but also NFTs. Which is something that a lot of people do have a lot of questions about. So I'll do that. I'm not sure if you guys can see me. Okay, just in case people can see me, here I am now. So yeah. I haven't gotten any questions. So, and also artists, if you guys have questions for each other, this is also a great opportunity to, you know, have that. And you can definitely connect off of this platform. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask them here too, so that we can, you know, kind of start to build that network. So NFT, what is an NFT? So this exhibition, as you guys saw, it was a digital representation of a space, or some people call it a metaverse, where we took each artist's work and we were able to showcase it, so that you can view it through your screen from at home instead of having to be in a physical space. So the artwork, it would be generally like a JPEG or a video, and that's how and it's either like a scan of a physical piece or it's something that was digitally created. And one of the questions is, and I think COVID had a lot to do with the popularity of this kind of digital work and the NFTs that have, I mean, NFTs were created before 2020, 2019. They were created more in, I think, I won't say when, maybe 2012, 2007, I'm not sure. But it has become really popular now. And the question is, you know, when you have a pandemic, you have like galleries that are closed and you can't really gather, so you can't have a lot of collectors and a lot of people seeing your work. How do you get your work out there, but not just how do you get it showcased, but then how do you sell your work? So that's where NFTs have really played a big role in that. So NFT stands for non-fungible token. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that I fully understand like the behind the scenes understanding of technology, but I'll say as I understand it. because I don't come from like a coder's world or a computer technology world. But if you do, then maybe, you know, you'll have, each person has a different understanding, but it's a non-fungible token. So you use it on the blockchain. So bear with me when I explain this, because every time I get like a little confused myself. But so right, so the blockchain that a lot of NFTs are being showcased on right now, it's called Ethereum. So I look at it as this: so you have a blockchain. It's like different mathematical equations that create these blocks, and the idea is that once it's created, like you will always know who created it, and well, I guess it can be destroyed, but it's not something that like it will always be documented. Like this was created on this day at this time by this person, and then this was transferred or sold to another person. So how the artwork comes in is that you can attach then like the same JPEG, the file that represents your artwork to this block, and that's this is how you then get like your NFT. So for example, I, Zoe Osborne, would I want to create a piece of NFT on the Ethereum blockchain. So I would pay something called a gas fee. And that just means that somewhere in the world, someone is going to create a contract which generates this block. And I'm going to upload my file. I'm going to say, I want my NFT to be associated with, let's say, the image of the poster for the exhibition. I want it to be associated with this poster. So that's called minting. So when you do that, someone then generates this token and you can see the image is attached to it. And there's a contract that shows that I was the person that created this. So that can never be disputed. Like you will always know that I am the creator of this. And then I decide, okay, so that's called minting. So now you have minted an NFT. And then there's different marketplaces where you can then sell or list your NFT. You can also do it without a marketplace, but I think that's the easiest way, especially when you're not sure exactly how the technology works. Maybe the easiest and safest way to do it. So on the marketplace, after you've uploaded and minted your piece, you then list it. So you pay another gas fee, which means that someone in the world, once again, is going to do this mathematical equation that says within the contract that if someone is going to receive this token, that they have to pay X amount of, and that's when I said it was on the Ethereum blockchain so that would be the currency that you would be exchanging it with. There are different marketplaces that you can also purchase using other currencies, including like the US dollar. But in the end, it's still going to always exist on that Ethereum blockchain, and you're the person that determines how much that collector will get it for. So the marketplace that I personally use, which is called Foundation, it is an invite-only place, and you can only do one-of-ones. So the thing with NFTs is that you can either do multiple editions or multiple tokens that are all attached to that file, but each token will still be its own like separate equation block. Or you can have one-of-one, so that will be the only edition that ever is created. And if it's ever sold, it will be like that specific one. Nobody else can acquire it in other ways. So on Foundation, how it works is that it's one-of-one, and as soon as the person, it's like a bid. So if someone says, oh, they want to purchase this work, they have to pay your reserve price, and then they have 24 hours until the money will be transferred from their wallet to my wallet. So how it works as well, something I didn't mention, is that each creator and each collector has a wallet, and this wallet is kind of your identity, and people choose to kind of be more anonymous, or people choose to kind of be kind of in your face about, this is my wallet, this is my name. In the end, that you can still always trace all the contracts, but there's ways that you can be a little bit more anonymous than others. But for each marketplace to sign up, you need to use this wallet to then create your profile, so that they'll always know that when you're creating something, that it always is owned by this wallet. and then it will be transferred from your wallet to the collector, and their money, Ethereum in this instance, would be transferred to your wallet. So it's something that's good because they can't bid on your piece unless they have the money in their wallet. So and when the sale closes, it will be a guarantee that it's already written in the contract that the money will be received to you and they will get the token. And in the foundation, as I mentioned, 24 hours, so somebody else can come in and bid within that time. And within the last 15 minutes, if there are new bids, then it will be extended by another 15 minutes until the last person is the winner or receives the artwork. So as I mentioned, there's other platforms. So like OpenSea is really good for collection. So it's also really good if you have, for instance, Chrome, who actually has an NFT, their toy as an NFT. So you can do collectibles where you can either have multiple editions, or you can have of one specific image, or you could have different variations. But OpenSea is a great way that you can actually create a collection so people can see each item in that collection. And they can see the floor price, which would be that minimum price that they can purchase it for. And they can also then start to see like how many of them have been bought, how many of them have been resold, and then like what the current floor price is as it raises over time. And if there's any questions, Drew, definitely ask me to clarify anything. And one thing I do want to say is that I don't think you ever fully understand until you do it, because it is a new world. And for me, I mean, I didn't really understand until I did it. And there's things out there that I don't fully understand until I read it more, or I will do them because it's always changing. It's a very fast-paced environment, I would say. But there's another thing I think that's really important about this digital world is that, I mean, we have our NFTs, but I think it also kind of encourages you to think differently about the way how you can sell your digital work. So you can actually, because there's another platform where, as I mentioned before, you can sell it for US dollars. And okay, the difference with the blockchain is that you have this block, so therefore you can never question who it is that created it. And also when it is resold on the secondary market, you will get royalties, and each marketplace, you can either determine your royalties or they have a different amount, but it's generally, I think, between like 10-12%. But no matter what, whenever it's resold, and each time it's resold, you will get a percentage of that sale, which is something that doesn't typically exist within the real world. So actually with those two things, it's something that you can apply as well to your work currently, which is one, maybe having contracts for that resale, but the difference is that they may not be a physical contract versus one on the crypto block or the blockchain. I mean, on the blockchain, you have to adhere to it because it's written into it. So therefore, whenever it's resold, it will automatically go to your wallet where the new collector doesn't have to send it. Whereas in the real world, you would have to assume that the person is going to really send it to you. But the other thing is also the idea that you can then sell like files, images, especially if you create digital work, you can determine, okay, I'm not going to put it on social media, I'm not going to put it on Instagram, but if somebody wants to purchase this from me, either I'm going to post like a very small image, or maybe I'll only show them like through a format like this. And then they say, okay, if you guys want to own this image, you have to, transfer or make a purchase, and then it will be sent to you. Another question or another thing in terms of then the ownership of these files or NFTs is how does the collector, like what does it mean to collector? How do you experience this? So that's one thing where the technology is evolving, but it already exists where you have like these digital screens. So it's one thing, yeah, just to show it on like something like a television or a frame. But there's also ways where you can actually connect your same wallet that I had mentioned before, where you use to like collect or to create your work. And it will then show all of the pieces that you own. So once you own it in your wallet, which should be something that then it's like only verified. So you can only have purchased it or somebody can transfer it to you. But only the stuff in your wallet then will be showcased. and then you can have a digital screen and it can be changing. I mean, I don't personally own one, so I don't know exactly how it works, but it's very, I think it's very interesting, and it also then, I guess, starts to reinvent to an extent how we experience art, because we do have digital screens that exist, and another thing that people do where they actually sometimes include these printed videos, which would be these screens that show like the NFT on a loop that you can plug in. And sometimes that's included in like the sale or purchase of the NFT, so that you get the digital token, but you also then get this physical representation of your piece as well. So there's a lot of different ways that you can, I guess, put your work out and also like get a sale from it. You can also then think about selling the screens as multiples of the screens, but then there's only one token, and different ways of like playing with the value of your work as well. So it's interesting because you really have a way to, I mean, you can reinvent yourself, which I think is part of it too, because it's supposed to be decentralized. So the idea is that you're kind of breaking down these different structures. There's still structures within it, but I think it's a way of like shifting. So you may be a physical artist in the real world, but well, real is really real, so I shouldn't put quotation marks, but physical artist in the real world, and you can have like a very different approach to the way that people collect your work in the digital world, and you can still continue to have the streams, the income in both ways, kind of like what Oneka mentioned, where you can sell that same thing, but then she said you could still showcase it and showcase it in a way that's different, and maybe representing her imagination in a different way as well, where you have like the different moving parts of it. So yeah, there's a lot of different applications with the NFTs. I don't know what else. If there's any questions right now, if you all have like an idea. I mean, I can only say so much, but hopefully you guys are understanding or getting an idea. And I did want to mention, I mean, people have come reach out to me specifically to ask any questions about what work that I may suggest we can put out, or how to get onto these different marketplaces. And there's also a group called Holders Land. So I don't know if you guys have heard about Karib Mall, but Karib actually was part of the last exhibition that we had. We also had a talk on NFTs, and who has been creating artworks, but also music, which is something that also exists on the blockchain. And he has really been, I guess, like scaling the flag of the Caribbean, and has had a lot of successes with NFTs, but also has created this kind of art and tech educational space where we can like share about the different NFTs we have, and also like ask any questions. There's also another group, CURATED, and there's also then in Mahogany culture, I can also answer questions to do with that. And I think one of the biggest things for being a Caribbean artist or creative in the NFT space is how do you access, or how do you get onto the blockchain? How do you get onto these markets? And then how do you access your money from crypto? It's a work in progress. There are hurdles. But there's also, there's hurdles, and it's not just in the Caribbean. I mean, there's an African crypto NFT community that also talks about the hurdles that they have. And the thing is that we make it work. So how it works is that you either, use the peer-to-peer ways of like accessing crypto, because the reality is that we can't purchase crypto, or at least Ethereum. It's very hard to purchase Ethereum in the Caribbean. There's the option of purchasing Bitcoin and then transferring it, but it can be tricky. So if there is like a way that you can acquire it in a peer-to-peer transaction, then that would be great. In terms of getting onto the platforms, as I mentioned, Foundation is invite only. So if you do know someone that may have an invitation, putting your work out there and expressing your desire to be in the crypto space is a really good way to get invitations. And then it's also to look at the different platforms that exist, or marketplaces, and see which one works for you. Because there's some where you just have to apply, but like a video of you talking about your work, and then like maybe give 3 examples of your work and like your ID to verify that you are the person that you say you are. And then they will have like these applications, and then they will accept you or let you know if you got through. So I think it's important to also, you know, look to see what platforms have work that's similar to yours. Not to say that you have to look for something that is similar to you, but for instance, if you do more 3-dimensional pieces, maybe there's a platform where there's a lot of collectors that seem to like 3-dimensional pieces. But with that, still, I think it's important to stay true to like the artist that you are and the kind of work you put out. Because even if you are unique in this space, then that's great. Then, you know, if you will find your collectors that way, it may take time, but you still look to see this is a platform that I think represents me as an artist, or, you know, who I want to align myself with. And then, you know, you can focus on that. And it's very community based, so I think it's important to want to naturally engage with the crypto NFT community, and that really exists on Twitter. If you're not really a Twitter person, I wasn't, but you kind of, I don't like to say you have to be, but it's in your best interest to be. There's also something called Discord. So actually, Daniel has a message here where she sent it, the link to the Holders Land Discord, which I had mentioned before, where you can ask any questions, or there's some FAQ links that we have in that Discord channel as well. And there's also Clubhouse, where it's kind of like a Zoom but audio only, like a voice note. Maybe if you guys know about voice notes that you can send, so you're listening into this conversation, and a lot of these spaces open up the floors for people all over the world to kind of just come in and say, hi, my name is Zoe, and I'm an artist in Barbados, and I would love to know more, and this is my work, and here's the link to my Instagram, or here's the link to my Twitter, and people will, you know, really look at your work and engage, and you will find your people. So it is important, as it is in the real world, to kind of network and engage. It's just that you're doing it digitally, and it may take some time, but I think that you get I personally think that you do feel, you know, a bit of a reward when you start to meet the people that you really like their work and they really like yours. And I can definitely add some links after, maybe like have the questions. I can get a minute to pull some links and drop them in. But once again, as I said, you guys can reach out to me as well to ask any questions. My personal Instagram is the Zoe Kid One. So I have a list, I have a document where I have different lists of resources. Because as I said, like I mentioned OpenSea, I mentioned Foundation, but there's there's Zora, which is really good if you have music. So there's different platforms that you can use to really engage with. We also have another artist here, Deandra Davis, who didn't get a time to speak. So I just wanted to open the floor to Deandra if you are interested in talking a little bit about your work. You can just, yeah.
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I'm just gonna share my screen again so that we can see your work.
I'm still kind of sleeping somewhat.
Well, I mean, it's up to you. I'll put your work out and you can yeah. It's up there. So if you wanted to.
Hold on, give me a second.
No problem.
Yeah, hi guys. My name is Deandra Davis. I'm an experimental artist from Jamaica. Basically, my work is like everything is new media technology based in somewhat a alternative research. Like there are a lot of aspects to how I present my work because of some of my influences. Like arts education, cognitive psychology, mathematics, technology, etc. So this series of work that I'm actually selling as NFTs is the Caribbean Sea and Me, because there was a period of time when every time I show work, people always ask if I'm actually Jamaican or if I went to school overseas, you know, all that kind of thing. So I decided to do a project called Not Your Kind of Artist, because I was kind of getting tired of that question and like people trying to put the art in a box. It's very stifling, trust me. And another thing, I didn't go to art school. So I got some really negative reaction from that, because I do show that at the National Gallery here. And I always tell them I don't want to participate in no talk and all that kind of thing because of the reaction that I always get. Most people don't know how I look because I don't share much on the internet of my face. But I remember specifically I participated in a major exhibition at the gallery called Young Talent. And I was walking along the section where my work was installed, and some people said, yo, what is this technology crap foolishness? And you know, these young artists always doing these brand new things that people don't get. And let me listen to them, and they're older people, you know, and academia people too. So that's all right. I must can find a way how I can put myself out there as a young Jamaican artist, but don't be like discouraged. So I always tell a story with images. So I have all these access to open source software, apps, just making use of everything I have available so I can tell these stories. But personally, they're Caribbean stories in my kind of way. And the thing is that I feel proud about my work. So presenting it and sharing it on the internet for me is a great feeling. I mean, I did come on social media for a while, and then my friend from New York, well, originally he's from Japan, but he's based in New York. He introduced me to this whole NFT thing, which was early this year, yeah, February. And I was kind of iffy about it because when I was trying to figure out how I can access this whole wallet thing, when I go to the bank, they say, yo, they don't support this thing. And I'm like, shit, what am I gonna do? So him end up like, send me some Ethereum and say, don't worry about it. If you make your first sale, you can just transfer back the Ethereum to me. And that's how I started. Basically, I knew about it from December last year, 2020. February, I started to read more about it. And then one of my good friend of mine from Trinidad, Troydel Wallace, we were talking about it. And then I kind of took some time off because when them tell me, yo, you would have to join Twitter. And I said to myself, Lord God, the internet, you know, social media again, because it just come off 2020. So I just did like take some time, figure out how I can present myself on the internet without feeling paranoid or, you know, feeling scared about sharing my work. Because my work have been stolen before off Facebook one time. And the person was so like bold about it because I don't know if it was a male or female, but the person was messaging me saying, you know, whatever you're making won't sell as art. So it's better just borrow it and make something. And I was like, okay, shit. All right, I guess you can have it. So that is the main reason why I be specific, like how I share my work, because most of these videos that I make, like I do make GIFs as well, but most of the videos are, they're long, like the duration of the video. So how I share on Twitter is like previews of the videos, and then the compression on Twitter sucks. So I use a, and I have a lot of colors in my work. So building a website and be able, like trying to secure and protect my work was a major thing for me, because as I was saying to myself, if I get into the space online again, you know, I have to be careful how I put my work out there, because in Jamaica, we don't have no law that can, you know, back the digital work. Like if you share something on the internet. I mean, I've heard stories about they're trying to get it done, but if somebody sees your work and you're from, well, I can only speak for Jamaica. If you're from Jamaica, it's going to be hard to like bring them to court, and it just can be too much. So that was a major thing for me. I do create a lot of still images, and sometimes I get wary about posting them on Twitter, because I mean, with this whole NFT thing, screenshot is a major thing. Like this particular illustrator that I follow, there was some scamming of his work. I think the person like basically went on his Behance page and screenshot all of his still images and minted them on OpenSea and made like 6 Ethereum off of the guy work. And I was like, that is some major robbery there. And like being on Twitter, being in this, like these Discord groups and stuff, I'm seeing a lot of work being stolen. Like there are certain phrases or terms that they use, like copy minting, or you know, people just thieving people work. So that is another thing that is very important with like sharing your work on the web, because your work can be like easily stolen. I was kind of creeped out when I started minting work, because I remember Foundation retweeted one of my posts, and I got this random message from a guy asking me for an invite. But he messaged me like, yo, can I have an invite, bro? So I'm like, yo, it was this mad person. And then the guy actually screen recorded the work on Foundation, added a musical design piece to the work, and posted on his Twitter, tag me, and then messaging me, oh, see what I can do. Like, can we do this together? And I'm like, people do that shit. So the fact that him can screen record the thing, and the funny thing is, you're looking at a screen. So sometimes these stuff don't even look pixelated. People have all these kind of software that can enhance your work, even when they screen record it. So I kind of took a break off like minting stuff, because I'm saying to myself, you know what, I need to go and try and get more information, like with this whole, you know, people thieving work from the web kind of thing. And I'm discovering that it's pretty simple for a person to basically rip off your work. I almost got scammed one time by a wannabe collector that was using the same exact Twitter name, profile picture. Like the pattern of his post was like exact to the collector that was on Foundation. And it's a good thing I was in this Discord group, because it happened to somebody in that Discord group. And I went in the group trying to like say, why this person, you know? And his message was like, I saw you work on foundation. It's really, exciting, and a person from the Caribbean. Oh my God, that's so cool. And him talking to me like the actual collector. But it never seems suspicious because, I'm asking these questions that collectors do ask because I've communicated with collectors before. But it got very weird to me when he was like, I'm going to bid on these two works. So he sent me like 2 links, and then he sent me another link. And I'm like, yo, this link don't look right. And then he keep on asking me if him win the auction, if I can settle the auction. So I'm like, yo, it depends on the gas price, because if you the collector have access to more money than me, I'm not going to settle the auction. But him keep on messaging me, please answer me if you're going to settle the auction. And I'm saying, okay, obviously this is not a, true person. So I went in the Discord group, and it's like, coincidentally, a guy from the group posted the same exact thread of messages that he was getting from the same person. And then I went on the collector's Twitter, and I was scrolling through, and my sister him did post, some imposter situation like weeks ago. And they're like, oh my God, suppose me didn't make that mistake and click on that link, because the thing is that these links, if your wallet is open in your browser, which most of the time I don't use the browser, I use my phone, they can get access to your wallet. Like, it's that simple. So if you click these links that these people send to you, if the browser is open and the wallet is connected to whichever platform you're using at the time, trust me, they can get access.
Oh, I never hey, that makes sense, but I guess it's
and
like,
and I learned all of this from a Discord group. And these people are older people than me, I kind of see them as veteran, because most of them, well, I ended up in the group because of my friend, but most of them in the group are like professors, well-established artists in new media and that kind of thing. So they know about like tech life stuff, what is right from what is not right. You have some of these links that are not protected. So it's important to even look out for that HTTPS when it comes to links, because trust me, it is wild. Like, I love the internet, and I've been like from Tumblr days, this not secure website thing, do not click on those links on your phone with stuff open. That's how people get access to like your credit card information. A lot of people use their apps and them left it open. Like, try to be as careful as possible. Close these apps when you're not using them.
I guess so I guess you touched on 3 things, which will be, first is the stealing of artwork, which I think part of it, because it's really important. So thank you for pointing out all these things. So that first one, because we're not like fully scare everyone from the space, but I can stop sharing my screen as well. I know that depending, I had mentioned that you have to like sometimes upload your ID to verify yourself. So I know that sometimes you have to also show like a screenshot of a working file. I've done that before, so that you show that like you're the actual creator of the work. But you, depending on where you are, you still have to be vigilant as well. So I had mentioned too about determining if you want to put your work on Twitter, on Instagram, or if you just want to like show like a very small version of it. That was something that Deandra had mentioned too, like showing compressed ones on Twitter. are just like short versions of it. So with everything, you know, there's their pros and their cons, and that would be one where you do want to make sure that you also protect yourself from somebody replicating your work and then selling it, because as you mentioned with that one artist where 6 Ethereum, well, I don't know the exchange right now, but that is a lot. That's a lot of money. So you wouldn't want that to happen. So I think it's important to determine, oh, am I only gonna put up compressed files? Am I gonna only put up files on like social media that I have a watermark? And then when it comes to the minting, I mean, you don't have full control over that. You just, I guess, keep doing your due diligence to see if your work ever does pop up somewhere else. The other one was the so actually I've been getting a lot of messages with people asking for invites to foundation, because as I mentioned, it's invite only. So I mean, I learned to just I just have to ignore some of them because there are a lot of messages that I do get. So it's also important, I guess, to discern between like the genuine people, because you will find genuine people to collaborate with or collectors on the social media. But so you have to kind of, I guess, pay attention, do your due diligence to look at profiles. And like if you see something suspicious, I've gotten messages where they would say, hi, someone pretending to be a different platform. And they say, hi, like I'm this platform and we want to include your work in this thing. And it doesn't seem like it's real. It seems very dramatic or too good to be true. And then, you know, when I look on the profile of the actual marketplace, or unlike Deandra mentioned, the Discord is actually a really important place because that's where you kind of get a lot of answers about the marketplaces, one like how to use them, how to like get accepted, but also sometimes there's scams going around. So which is why it's also important to be part of the communities, because then you can see what's happening. So it's always important to cross-reference, because like I think it's super rare. I think like they always say these are our only profiles. If anybody reaches out to you with another profile, that's not us. And then to be careful once again in terms of the messages that you get. And they will have people that say, oh, if you send me this amount of Ethereum, then I will buy your piece, and anything like that. And generally, like we do know that those things sound a little bit iffy, but it is very important to protect yourself. And I mean, the NFT space, there are benefits to it, but there's also the cons. And I think each individual person kind of has to just determine if it's the right thing for them. And as I mentioned before about the Holders Land Discord and the community, like they are spaces where you can really, you know, talk to people and they ask questions and send a screenshot and say, hey, I got this message, do you think it's real? Or what do you think I should do? And there is a reason also to not rush into getting the crypto and their wallet, because there are, well, the more crypto you have in your wallet, there are different steps that you can take. For instance, getting a hard wallet, but I mean, I won't go into it, but there's different things you can take to further protect yourself. Along with the tips that you just mentioned. So there's pros and cons. It's a new space. You know, you take the steps you need. You take the time to read up on it, and if you have questions, reach out. But I think there's still some good benefits. You just definitely have to be careful. So thank you, everyone. If there's any other questions, feel free to raise your hand, to send a message in the group. I just wanted to take this time. You guys can send the messages now if you have any questions, but I just wanted to take the time to really thank the UNCTAD team, the CITD forum team, the AnimeCon team, and all the artists, Oneka Artist Alliance, for allowing us to also have this physical space. Actually, just to speak a little bit about that, we have the physical gallery at the Artist Alliance location in Barbados, which I mentioned, which we had the videos on display, and also people could then use their phones to see the artwork, and then get the links to the different ways to purchase or to view the person's profile. So yes, we don't have like this is without all of you and all the different people that I mentioned. So Adrian, Green, and Bab, they were really essential in helping us Omar, as mentioned before. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for staying with us today. I'm not seeing any questions. I just have a comment from Olivia saying thank you. So thank you for being here. And Oneka, I just wanted to open the floor to you to let us know what is happening in Barbados in the art world right now. And also, artists, if you have anything that's coming up for you, you can feel free to mention that now. Yeah.
Thanks, Zoe. Thank you so very much. That's a tall order to talk about what's happening in the Barbados art world. Lots of exciting things, clearly. Nothing as exciting as a free space exhibition. Just want to say again, thank you very much. When you open these platforms and invite a variety of artists, then we also get a variety of artists that go forward to do some of our other initiatives. So we actually had an auction, an online auction as part of the BMEX platform. That also had a real component to it. And I was happy to see, is it Deandra was in that show as well. So thank you very much for participating. The next thing we have coming up is a show called Decolonization, which is being done in conjunction with the Argentine embassy here. So if anybody would like to get more information on that, I can share. Zoe has everybody's contact information. I can share with Zoe. I think I did already. That is an open call, but it's going to be jurred. And there is a cash prize as well for a purchase piece. So we're trying to encourage people to work along the theme of, because Barbados is heading into being a republic on November 30th. We're trying to encourage people to create work in a variety of forms that we can discuss the ideas around freedom and colonization. So those are basically the two things that we have up and running or upcoming. Right.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
I should also say, our Norman Center space is also available for artists to use in any which way, form, and fashion that they like. We are not in Norman Center over the Christmas season because Tasha's Wonderland has expanded to use the space for Christmas, but we're back in from January. So if artists want to use the space, they can send us a proposal. It can be used in any which way, form, or fashion that is cognizant of the fact that it is a family mall. We had a couple people who came through to see the same free space exhibition express interest in doing something within the space. And we're very good with whatever you do. I always just say, send us a proposal and stick to what it is that you say you're going to do. So there's opportunities there as well as the Argentine embassy tends to be open as well to artists who want to show work. So we're still trying.
Coming as a business is open to other Caribbean artists, or is it purely for Barbadian artists?
It's open to other Caribbean artists. It's we're good with that. So if you would like to, that's fine. We actually have one artist from Argentina who was in the Realities exhibition that Zoe curated at the Argentine embassy prior. So she is participating. So yeah, we're open. I can get the information to you so you can see what the call is like. The time frame is kind of short, but we're taking existing or pre-existing work, and we will have digital technologies there to showcase digital work as well, saying that was always now part of our family. We gotta make sure that we do the things that keep the younger people there.
Awesome, that's super exciting. Well, we don't have any other questions, so I will close out tonight, but thank you again to everyone who took the time out to be here. Yeah, I'm excited to see you guys at all these future exhibitions. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.